Alright, I'm going to kind of go through this process kind of quickly, just because you have the power of pausing and rewinding, and I don't want the video to be too long, and I don't want the video to become too complicated. Um, so here we go. I am in perspective view here, and my robot is one object. If yours is, this is what you're going to have to do. So I need to detach this object so he has parts of the body that are one. And what I mean by that is I want his forearm and his hand to move together. So this is going to be one object here. This is going to be one object. And if you have an arm with a bunch of buttons and a bunch of stuff on it, you're going to want to attach every single one of those objects to the arm. Not group, but attach. And I will create a video on how to do that if you don't know how. It's very similar to what I'm getting ready to do right now. So, oh well, here's basically what it is. So you want to make sure, this is me attaching the objects now, I misspoke. So I want to attach the fingers and the hand to this forearm so it moves as one object. So I'm just going to click attach and start clicking. As you see, I don't have materials on these objects. These are just standard colors that I've applied through up here. So when I attach them to an object, they're going to inherit the basic color of that object. That's why it's important that you put materials on everything. If you have materials on something, a window will pop up and ask you a series of questions. Just click OK and everything should be fine. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see once you get there. So I need to do the same thing over here on this hand. Convert this into an editable poly and click attach, and then go through on the fingers here. And I need to do the same thing on I need to do the same thing with the arms and the elbow joints here. Convert to editable poly and attach this. And some of you have a hose that represents the limbs on your body. So I created a cylinder which is similar. So it's going to operate in the same way. So you don't have multiple objects that make up a limb. It's just one object, a hose or a cylinder or something. So now down here I'm going to attach, I'm going to convert both of these objects to editable poly and select one, and I'm going to attach the ankle with the knee right in there. And do the same thing over here. So click attach, and there we go. Remember to right click to get out of that. Alright, now I'm ready to go. So what I want to do first is line this guy up in the center of the world. So I'm going to group him in order to do that first, and then I'm going to ungroup him. So I just want to move him to the center of the world, okay? So the easiest way to do that in the center of the world, what I mean is right here directly in the center of the grid. So you want to take these X, Y, Z coordinates and make them 0. The quickest way to do that is to right click on the up and down arrows, and this will be centered directly. Now I want to ungroup this so I can work with it. And now step 1, you want to make sure that you line this guy up. When you press F, you're looking orthographically, F3, F4 to look at this, that he's looking at you from the front view. Mine is from the back, so I want to select him, press F again, and rotate him 180 degrees. Make sure angle snap is on, so you get this 180 perfect degree transformation. Also, what I've done with the arms, if you have arms or limbs that operate with multiple objects, rotate them so they're at an angle. This will tell the computer which way you want the arms to rotate. Otherwise, if they're just straight out, the computer will determine which way the arms rotate. For example, your arm rotates at the elbow at a certain angle. The computer could go ahead and determine that your elbow, other than the way it operates right now, it would actually bend inversely. So your elbow would almost look like it's broken. So I've done the same with the legs. So they bend this way. And what I mean with all the verbose explanations of what I said a second ago, if you just have straight legs in here and you put your bones in straight, the computer could arbitrarily decide that the knees bend backwards instead of forwards the way you're used to and the way you want. So you want to make sure that you go in there and you give direction to that. So now the next thing you want to do, press F again. Very important that we're looking at this. F flat 180 degrees. You're looking at it wireframe, so you press G. If you don't know how to go into wireframe, you press F3. And if now what we have to do is freeze this object, this entire object. So I'm going to select all of it, right click and freeze selection. That is so you don't accidentally click on something while you're creating a bone and move it around. So now I'm going to add bones. So you just press X on the keyboard and type bone and click bone tools. You can also go up here to animation and go to bone tools and click that. So again, if you're not looking at this from a flat perspective orthographically from the front, which is what I want you to do this time, click create bones. If you don't do this, your bone system creation is not going to work. So how you do this is I'm going to create a bone system for each limb and the torso, and you have to work from the middle out on each one of these. So when you create the one for the torso, you work from the middle out. So all the movement going from the hips would go all the way up. So I'd create a bone from down here and up, and you want to make sure that you do the arms from the inside out. Otherwise, this won't work correctly. So I'm just going to click in here once, left click, and I'm going to click where the arm is actually going to rotate from, or bend at, which is right here in the elbow. And I want to make sure that I'm looking at this from a top view, actually. So I'm just going to undo that. I made a mistake because I want the arm to bend this way. So I want to look at it from the top view so I can actually see that angle. So again, click here, left click at the elbow, left click at the hand, and then right click to get out of it. And now I'm going to right click to get out of creating bones, or you can click that button. I need to move these bones up, so you want to make sure you select them all and move them right up. And then I'm just going to move right along. Now I'm going to do this arm. Okay, so I'm clicking in here, down to the elbow. I can see the angle from this view, so now left click at the hand, right click to get out of it. Now I need to right click to get out of bones, select these bones, and move them this way. There's a little bit of bend in the arm that I didn't get from that angle, so now I'm just going to select this arm here, and I'm going to make sure I get that bend in. So now it's fitting in there perfectly. Again, the reason I'm doing this so rather quickly is so the video isn't so long, and you do have the power to pause or slow the video down and work at your own pace. So pardon me if I'm going too fast, but you can pause and stop and all that. So now I'm working from the hip down to the knee, left click at the ankle, left click at the end of the foot, right click. Now I'm going to right click to get out creating bones so I don't accidentally create some more. And now I'm going to select these bones and move them to the proper leg. So now I'm just going to simply do that again. And I want to make sure for the other leg when I'm doing this, I'm not going to copy and paste these bones over there. I'm just going to create new. Make sure that you don't go to the end of one of these bones. You're accidentally going to connect here and start creating more bones. So I'm just going to slightly off to the side create more bones like so. Oh, I need to make sure I deselect that. And now click create bones, and now start clicking. Oh, why is it not working? Because I'm not looking at it flat. So I press L now to look at this from the side, and now I can start creating bones. Left click at the end of the foot, right click. Now I need to get out of creating bones. You can do that by clicking create bones or simply right click. Now I'm going to look at it from the front, select the bones from the middle, and drag them to the side. And now I'm going to do the tail. So some of you have limbs that consist of one object, and this is you. I want the tail to bend up in a C, so when you do this, you have to tell the computer by putting these bones in at an angle that yes, I want these bones to bend this way, and you'll see exactly what I mean when I actually put in the IK solvers. Alright, and now I want to deselect the bones and start creating bones again. So I'm going to go from the base up to the head, and I want to do it at a view that I'm going to rotate this guy at. So his spine is going to kind of go like this. So I'm just going to click here, go into the middle, go to the chest, left click at the head, and then right click to get out of it. Okay. So that is the end of this video.